애들은 되게 사람을 괴롭히거나 질이 나쁜 귀신들일 거예요.
귀신에 뭐가 있나 봐요.
저거 봐요. 그 마늘 먹는 거 봐, 막 쑤셔 넣는 거 봐. 저거 봐. 왜 그래?
왜 저래?
오빠 나오면
전에 여리 씨랑 손담
귀신들 찾아올 텐데.
봤던 사람들은 어떻게 됐는데요?
초반에 찾아오는 귀신.
목숨 걸고 내가 레이나 먹게 해준다는 거 진짜야?
당연하지.
그런 사
아, 이걸 다 믿으신다고요?
인마가 불어난다는 게 말이 돼요 지금?
너 대신 이 아킬레스건 한번 찾아볼까 하는데 천열이
Welcome back to Kdramas Decoded, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode of your favorite K-drama. Episode 4 picks up immediately after the shocking ending of the previous episode. Yorai has finally confirmed that prosecutor Ma Gang-yuke can now see ghosts because of their physical contact. Before either of them has time to process what this means, a frightened child's ghost appears in front of them, desperately trying to get their attention. Unlike the malicious spirits Gang-yuke has already encountered, this ghost isn't trying to scare anyone. Yorai quickly realizes the little boy is asking for help. Trusting her instincts, she follows him, and Gang-yuke reluctantly comes along despite being terrified by everything he has witnessed. The ghost leads them deep into the woods, where they discover an overturned car that has crashed down an embankment. Looking inside, they make a horrifying discovery. The little boy's body is trapped inside the wreckage, meaning the child standing before them has already died. Beside him is his badly injured father, who is still barely alive. Emergency services arrive and begin rescuing the survivors. Before the father is taken away, Yorai gently tells him that his son is alive. She knows it isn't true, but she wants to give the injured man enough hope to keep fighting for his own life. Just when everyone believes the rescue is over, the little boy continues urging Yorai to look inside the vehicle again. She searches more carefully and makes another heartbreaking discovery. Hidden beneath the wreckage is the boy's younger sister, who is still alive but trapped. Thanks to the child's spirit leading them back, the little girl is rescued just in time before it's too late. A flashback reveals what really happened during the crash. Even in his final moments, the young boy shielded his little sister with his own body, sacrificing himself to protect her. Knowing his family is finally safe, the child's spirit peacefully says goodbye to Yorai and Gang-yuke before disappearing forever. Watching everything unfold changes Gang-yuke completely. For the first time, he witnesses a ghost whose only wish was to save someone rather than frighten the living. It also makes him realize that every strange clue Yorai has given investigators in previous cases came from spirits like this one. As they leave the accident scene, Gang-yuke asks Yorai the question he has been wondering ever since they met. Why can she see ghosts? Yorai finally opens up about the secret she has hidden from everyone for years. She explains that everything began after a near-death experience. While on a yacht during her high school years, she fell into the sea and nearly drowned. Her close friend Jae Hwan jumped in to save her, but although Yorai survived, Jae Hwan lost his life. After the accident, she started seeing Jae Hwan's ghost everywhere she went. At first she believed she was simply grieving, but before long she realized she could see every spirit wandering between life and death. Her curse came with another terrifying consequence. Anyone who makes physical contact with her temporarily gains the same ability. That's exactly what happened to Gang-yuke. Yorai explains that he'll continue seeing ghosts for roughly 1 month before everything returns to normal, as long as he avoids touching her again. She also reveals how this ability destroyed her life. When people around her began seeing ghosts after touching her, rumors quickly spread. Nobody believed her explanations, and she became isolated from everyone around her. Since then, she's avoided physical contact with others because she never wanted anyone else to suffer the way she has. Feeling guilty, she apologizes to Gang-yuke for dragging him into her nightmare. Believing it's best for him, she tells him they shouldn't see each other again until the month has passed. Instead of letting her walk away, Gang-yuke reaches out and gently grabs her hand. Rather than blaming her, he tells her how sorry he is that she's had to carry such a burden completely alone for so many years. That night, both of them struggle in different ways. Back home, Yorai begs the countless spirits surrounding her to leave her alone for just one night, but they never do. Meanwhile, Gangyuke quickly learns how terrifying her daily life really is. Ghosts appear inside his apartment. They stand beside his bed. They stare at him while he tries to sleep. Some suddenly scream in his face, just to get his attention. By morning, he hasn't slept at all. The next day at work is even worse. Everywhere he looks, spirits are wandering through the office. He can't focus on his cases because ghosts constantly interrupt him. What began as curiosity quickly turns into complete exhaustion. Days pass but nothing improves. Gangyuke becomes sleep-deprived, stressed and increasingly traumatized by the endless stream of ghosts surrounding him. Elsewhere, Yorai continues running her company as if everything is normal. She gives employee Jaisu a gift card so she can buy soft toys for her son, hoping to build stronger relationships with her staff. However, Jaihee notices the growing connection between Yorai and prosecutor Ma Gangyuke and starts asking questions. Gangyuke desperately searches for ways to distract himself. He even invites Pildong over to watch movies, hoping keeping his mind occupied will stop him noticing the ghosts. It doesn't work. A week passes, and he's still terrified every single day. Eventually, one particularly frightening spirit pushes him over the edge. Late at night, Gangyuke calls Yorai and begs for help. But Yorai deliberately ignores his calls. She believes keeping her distance is the only way to help him move on once the month ends. Unfortunately, Gangyuke can't take it anymore. He rushes straight to her house and desperately bangs on her door, begging her to let him inside. At first, Yorai refuses. But hearing the fear in his voice, she finally opens the door. Gangyuke admits that he simply can't survive like this on his own. Rather than complaining about himself, though, he apologizes to Yorai. After living through just 1 week of what she experiences every day, he finally understands how unbelievably difficult her life has been. He decides he'll somehow endure the remaining weeks alone. Seeing how determined he is, Yorai changes her mind. She begins teaching him everything she's learned over the years. Her first lesson is surprisingly simple. Ignore the ghosts. No matter how loudly they scream. No matter how frightening they look. No matter how desperately they try to get attention. Never react. From that point onwards, the two begin speaking regularly over the phone. Although Yorai still refuses to meet him in person, she patiently guides him through every difficult day. She shares all the little survival tricks she's discovered throughout the years. Salt can keep wandering spirits away, so she tells him to pour a line of salt outside his apartment door. Ghosts also dislike strong smells, so she suggests eating plenty of garlic. Gangyuke faithfully follows every piece of advice. One afternoon, he sits in the prosecutor's office eating an enormous amount of garlic while trying to keep nearby ghosts away. Unfortunately, the prosecutor general suddenly joins him. The overwhelming smell fills the room, and before Gangyuke can apologize, another ghost suddenly appears beside him. Startled, he accidentally spits garlic all over the prosecutor general, creating one of the episode's funniest moments. As the weeks pass, Gangyuke gradually adapts to seeing ghosts. He learns to sleep despite spirits trying to wake him. He becomes calmer whenever ghosts appear unexpectedly. Little by little, he's finally learning how Yorai has survived for so many years. Soon, the final day of his month arrives. The night before his curse is supposed to end, Gangyuke and Yorai share drinks together over a video call. Looking back over everything that happened, Gangyuke sincerely thanks her for never giving up on him. He admits that talking with her every day has become an important part of his life. Hoping their connection doesn't have to end, he asks if they can continue meeting through video calls even after he stops seeing ghosts. Yorai quietly refuses. She believes staying involved with her will only bring him more pain in the future. Before he can convince her otherwise, she ends the call. The following day, even while exercising, Yorai can't stop thinking about him. When her phone rings, she automatically assumes it's Gangyuke calling again and casually mentions ghosts during the conversation. Only then does she realize she's actually speaking with Harai instead. Harai immediately becomes suspicious. Not long afterwards, Harai unexpectedly runs into Min Hwan. During their conversation, she casually mentions that Yorai has been spending time with prosecutor Ma Gang-yuke. To Harai's surprise, Min Hwan openly admits that he likes Yorai. The confession leaves Harai visibly upset. Determined to remove Yorai from her path, Harai visits Seung-yi in prison. She reveals that Yorai was responsible for helping Gang-yuke locate the body hidden inside the water tank. Harai then asks Seung-yi to help eliminate Yorai from the competition for control of the company. Meanwhile, Gang-yuke receives shocking news from Pildong. Seung-yi has been released on bail. Enraged, Gang-yuke confronts Sang-ho, who explains that the prosecutor general personally approved the decision. Gang-yuke immediately confronts Seung-yi face to face and promises that he'll expose Minister Park's secret slush fund no matter what. Seung-yi simply smiles before making a chilling threat. If Gang-yuke continues investigating, Yorai will suffer the consequences. Realizing the danger she's in, Gang-yuke repeatedly tries calling her. She continues rejecting every call, believing they're supposed to return to being strangers now that the month has ended. When he can't reach her, he rushes to her house. She's gone. At that exact moment, Seung-yi's men ambush Yorai and kidnap her directly from her car. Elsewhere, Gang-yuke returns home, where Madame Ping is unexpectedly waiting for him. Over dinner, he tells her everything that's happened since falling into the sea on Jeju Island, including how he started seeing ghosts and met Yorai. Deeply worried, Madame Ping insists he stay inside the house that night. Still unable to forget Seung-yi's threat, Gang-yuke once again tries calling Yorai. When she doesn't answer, he attempts to leave. Madame Ping locks him inside his room to stop him doing anything reckless. While taking a shower, Gang-yuke suddenly notices a ghost trying to communicate with him. The spirit leaves behind a clue pointing towards Yorai's location. Realizing she's in immediate danger, Gang-yuke escapes and races to rescue her. Meanwhile, Seung-yi interrogates Yorai about her supernatural abilities. When she refuses to answer, he decides to frame her for drug abuse instead. One of his men prepares a syringe and moves in to inject her. Just before it's too late, Gang-yuke bursts into the building. He fights through the men and successfully rescues Yorai. Together they escape and climb into his car. But Seung-yi isn't finished. Without hesitation, he deliberately drives his vehicle straight into Gang-yuke, sending him crashing to the ground. Police officers and paramedics quickly arrive at the scene. Gang-yuke is rushed to hospital in critical condition. Doctors fight desperately to save his life. Outside the operating room, Yorai blames herself for everything that's happened. Pildong and Hayoung-min can only watch helplessly as Gang-uk's heart suddenly stops. The monitor flatlines. Overwhelmed with guilt and grief, Yorai leaves the hospital. As she walks outside, she freezes. Standing in front of her is Gang-yuke. Not his body. His spirit. Unable to hold back her emotions any longer, Yorai runs forward and hugs him tightly. With Gang-uk's fate hanging in the balance and his ghost now standing before her, episode 4 ends on its biggest cliffhanger yet.